Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday, the 27th of December. Getting closer to that New Year's, huh? So, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, Jeff, I got your message about trying to do something when it comes to etiquette. And also, what are your New Year's resolutions going to be? So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. Yes, it is. This is the weekday, Monday through Friday. If you didn't already know it, my name is Eric, and today is Friday. It's the end of the week, guys, for you guys that are working. I know some of you, a lot of places up here take like Christmas Eve right through till the 2nd. We don't. Plus, we get bored, anyways. But so, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about etiquette. And the best way I can describe what I'm trying to say is, and you old timers will know, is old school. Old school versus new school. And I'm telling you right now, there's always been an old school and there's always been a new school. And I can remember when I was younger, I was part of the new school, right? But certain things stayed as a tradition that was old school. And a lot of the things that you hear, this is mainly for you young guys, that you hear from your grandparents, even your parents, of how to be a good person. You know, not just be a good person when people are watching. It's being an honest to God good person. For me, and it's not for everybody, okay? But for me, he's always watching. Always. I can't lie to him. I can't tell him that I was thinking something else when I wasn't. But old school is being a good person day in, day out. Are you going to have bad days? Yes. And what do? You try to minimize the bad days and capitalize on the good days. And part of that is treating people the way you would hope to be treated. Not the way you've been treated, the way you would hope to be treated. And that says a lot right there if you're a shop owner or even a mechanic. When you have a customer come in, I treat that customer the way I would hope to be treated if I were in their shoes. I like honesty. I like speaking your mind. Even if it's something I disagree with, I respect people that aren't afraid to speak their mind. But not so much if they're going out of their way to hurt someone else. All right? There's fine lines in the sand no matter where you go, right? But if you're running a shop, you're going to have to you're going to have different style customers, right? And you're going to have that customer that comes in and says, I don't care what it takes, get it running, and pays the bill, and is happy as a lark because the machine is running great. But should you treat that customer any differently than the one that's questioning your bill? No. No, because that first customer has got trust in you that you're already doing that for them. Whereas the latter customer doesn't trust too many people because probably they've been burnt a few times and they haven't been to you enough times to feel safe enough to trust you. And that comes with time, right? I've had customers come in and spend half an hour spiel talking about how they don't have a lot of money and don't put the screws to them, basically. Because they've never dealt with me, or they've only dealt with me just a short period, and they haven't seen how I handle customers, how I treat customers. Now, Jeff, you had mentioned about, having the main bill and then having these other things tacked on. And we don't do that in our shop. We don't. There's an hourly wage. That's a given. There's a diagnostic fee if we don't take and we don't fix the unit. It's on the wall. And we do have a difference between lawn and garden and farm tractors. Farm tractors is, $10 more an hour. We don't get petty and start adding all these fees in. What are you doing if you're adding all these fees? Prep fees, storage fees, the list can go on. But my thing is have the customer pay for what you did. And always be the better person, all right? Sometimes customers aren't going to be happy no matter what you do. But you need to be the one that steps up and understands that, where you can understand you're going to be a great shop owner and in customer service if you're an employee, if you can understand where that customer is coming from. Even if it's from left field, if you can understand the dynamics, you can move that customer over into the I trust you line faster. You can. I've had female customers come into my shop fully expecting us to put the screws to them. Because everybody puts the screws to women when it comes to auto mechanics, small engine repair, or else, because they don't know nothing. That is the farthest thing from the truth. Let me tell you, some of the best mechanics I know are women or girls. Some of the people that take the best care of their units are women. And probably the top customers of mine are women. And why is that? Because I don't treat them like a dunce. I don't treat them any differently than I would a guy standing in front of me. The only difference is I explain what I do. But I do that with the guys because they want to know. I may have to explain it in different terms. But that's what you have to learn if you're a shop owner / in your customer service, is how to talk to each customer. And it's going to vary. It's going to vary from one customer to the next. I mean, you understand that part of it. You may have, Scrooge McGruff over here that's penny pinching and have, Joe Schmo over here that just comes in, pays the bill. But they're both customers and they both have to be treated differently. Scrooge McGruff, you need to go item by item by item and exactly what you did and what you found. Joe Schmo, you have to tell him what you found, what you did, and here's the bill. Do I have customers that come in and just say, what do I owe? Yes, but that's because I've had them for years and they trust me. And we always have done is when we work on somebody's unit, we start a box. And the box is a box of parts. And the box of parts is what we took off that unit to repair it so that it's running great again. And that box could include a container of fuel, like a soda bottle, one of the bigger soda bottles, or I like orange juice. So what is it, the couple quarts or something like that? But we'll pour the gas into there and let the water settle out, the ethanol settle out, and have that for the customer when they come. And showing is the best way for me to work with my customers. I can explain things better if I can show water, ethanol, and good fuel. Lawnmowers don't run and snowblowers do not run on water or ethanol. Where do you draw the gasoline from to run your machines? The bottom of the tank. This is why we preach PRI-G and 91 octane. But we have that box of the old lawnmower blades that were on it, the cables that were broke on it that we took off from it. You name it, it's in the box, all right? And when that customer comes to pick up their unit, Claude will carry the box up to the counter and set it down and say, did you want your old parts? This is what we fixed and took care of. 99% of the people will say no. If you've got a place to get rid of it, which we do the scrap. We have a guy come in once a year and clean out our scrap. So we just throw it on the scrap pile. And the old gas we use for washing parts and using in the ultrasonic cleaner inside a container to help clean out the orifices on carburetors. So if you're younger and you hear somebody mention old school, that's what it is. It's the way the old timers used to treat their customers. And it's tried and true. It works. You know, having a bunch of fees for every different thing and adding more fees to the bill after the bill has been added up labor-wise and then tacking all this crap on. What are you doing? What are you doing? I've seen even administration fees tacked on. At the very least, figure it out and put it into your hourly rate. If that pushes your hourly rate higher than everybody else and people stop coming to you, so be it. But you're going to lose customers if you start tacking a bunch of these fees on after the actual bill. And it's about being the better person. It's about being a good person. It's about treating others the way you would hope to be treated and not how you've been treated. You know, like I say, you know, with me, he's watching. And that might be something you might want to look at. Because my feeling, and I've always felt this way, if somebody's going to take a hit or somebody's going to get screwed in the deal, let it be me. Don't ever let me be the one that's putting the screws to somebody else or along that lines to somebody else. Because that would bother me to no end. And why would that bother me? Because I have a conscience. And I have a conscience that says, you know, you need to be the better person. Even when, you know, you don't have, what's the right word? Even when everything points to the other person, you know, being the one that, be the better person. And that's in everything. That's in your relationship with customers, family, your partner, what have you. Always try to be the better person. Always try to treat people the way you would hope to. And if you're a parent, try to raise your kids the same way. I get this all the time. Well, trying to be the better person and trying to do what's right, I'm the one that gets screwed. But are you? I've seen people cry foul that came out on top. And I'm not saying that let somebody sit there and berate you or, put you down or this. No. The better person walks away from that confrontation. Why stand there and let people think you're stupid and ignorant versus opening your mouth and confirming it? That's what my grandfather always used to. It still sits right here in my head. But try that with your customers. Try, if you're not doing the box, which I know most of you mechanics and shops, you're doing the box. So you can show the customer, I'm not trying to get anything over on you. Here's what it is. And Claude will come up to the counter in case the customer has any questions. He'll bring the box up. And he has no problem going through one by one by one. And in the beginning, he did, because people were questioning his work. But I explained to him, I said, they're not questioning your work. They're questioning because they may have been burnt at a different shop, But let's make it part of the shop etiquette of bring the box up. Take the time to show the customer what you did and why you did it. And they're happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. Right? So if you haven't started the box, do the box. All right, so that brings us to New Year's resolutions. So what are your New Year's resolutions? I want to see it in the comment, guys. I think probably my biggest, and it's sad, I have to admit that it's sad, that it takes a major event in someone's life to start to get focused. I've always put people above money. I've always. But my tendencies are I'm a workaholic. All right? I'm busy all the time doing something. And I'm the one that is too busy to go to functions, too busy for this, too busy for that. And I don't want to be. I mean, when I got first released from the hospital, my daughter took me home with her. And my granddaughter, Olivia, and I were inseparable. I spent 4 days there. And I had a blast. I mean, I could hardly walk. But she and I had a blast. We were eating popsicles together. My daughter and son-in-law, they got a box sitting next to her. She works from home. But she had a box next to her, and it had like all these small potato chip bags and snacks and this and that. Olivia would open a bag and take like one chip out and set it down and go get a different bag because she didn't care for that bag. Well, I would just finish that bag. And in a way, because I wasn't getting a lot I wasn't eating. And that got me eating was I started munching on her chips. And she'd ask if I wanted a popsicle. And she'd run out to the bottom of the refrigerator. It was a pull-out drawer, and it was a freezer. And she'd grab a couple popsicles and run back in with it, and I would open them, and we'd have popsicles. That time with her was golden. Because I didn't have time with the other two. I mean, I was always involved, but not like I have been with Olivia. And we still FaceTime here and there between the two of us with my daughter and Olivia and me. Being involved in my grandkids' lives and my kids' lives are very important. And also, this coming year is taking better care of my health. A couple of the things that got scratched already, and it's just from spending, over a month in ICU, and this is going on 2 months out. I haven't had a cigarette. Now, have I swapped one thing for the other? Not really, because the vape I usually hit a couple times in the morning, and after lunch, and then a couple times after dinner. I'm not sucking on it all day long. I don't want another habit. Drinking. I used to drink 5, 6 beers a day. I get in, and that's what kind of settled me down for the day because I run at a fast pace, right? Instead of being the tortoise and the hare, where the tortoise has the steady and wins the race because the rabbit is running and falls over, I was the rabbit in that I couldn't get my mind to kind of tone down. So what I do is when I get in after working the day, I would drink 4 or 5 beers before dinner, and then I'd have one with dinner. And that was just to kind of slow me down. Beer tastes like crap now, so I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't drink. And this is all prior to New Year's resolutions, right? 3, I used to, and I have for over 25, 30 years. I never had breakfast. I never had lunch. And I would have just one meal a day, and that was dinner. And what was happening is my body was storing that food that I had for dinner as fat, because the body goes into what they call starvation mode. It knows it's not going to get anything else until the following night. So it stores it as fat. And what ends up happening is when it stores it as fat, you don't have the energy, right? Now what I've done, and they've had me doing since I was in the hospital and left the hospital. Actually, I didn't start doing it until 2 weeks, where they started feeding me food in the hospital, but 3 meals a day. And that has been kind of foreign to me. But I usually have oatmeal and either toast or bagel in the morning. I usually grab a sandwich for lunch. Go light. And then at dinner, you're not as hungry, and have a decent, have a portion dinner, don't pig out. But then the body gets out of starvation mode and says, hey, we're getting fed 3 times a day. There's food coming. We don't need to store it as fat. We can use it as energy. And the energy that I've noticed, my grandfather always used to say, the most important meal of the day is breakfast. And he always had a large breakfast, portion lunch and portion dinner. But he loved his breakfast. And he said, that's what will get you through the day. I was dinner time. And dinner time was stored as fat and then go to bed, right? What I've also noticed with eating 3 times a day, portion-wise, where you're not pigging out, is actually I've lost weight. Yeah, I lost weight. Eating 3 meals versus 1 meal. Because the body is saying, hey, we're getting fed 3 times a day, and he's snacking here and there. So, hey, this is great. And the body responds and gives me more energy throughout the day instead of just certain times. My sister-in-law, because she knows that food is still foreign to me. And this will get you laughing. Last night, I decided, let's go with a cheeseburger, broccoli, and cottage cheese. Those were my 3 food groups last night. And I had orange juice for something to drink. While I was cooking the broccoli, I thought I could smell propane, like a gas leak. And again, I haven't smoked in 2 months, so my sense of smell has been heightened, you know. And it ended up being the broccoli. The broccoli was what was coming through my nose, is smelling like a gas leak. But I'm like a new kid, a young child experiencing things for the first time. I smoked since I was 17. So the taste buds on my tongue, the smell with my nose has increased. Most foods are still foreign, okay? Because you take smoking that long. I don't remember what it tasted like when I was 16. Right? So I'm relearning the food groups and what they smell like and what they taste like. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but I want to know, what are your New Year's resolutions going to be? You know, is it add more things to the shop, get more customers? You know, we always want more customers, right? Some shops don't, but we'll take them. But on that note, you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend. I'm sure I'll have something out in the morning. On that note, you guys have a great day. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. Because I feel like you guys are part of my family. You've been part of my family for a while. And for that, I will be forever grateful. So on that note, you guys have a great day.